when they found me, I was also hemorrhaging internally. I had punctured a lung and my spleen was bleeding out. So they had to do emergency surgery on my stomach and remove my spleen and sewed up some things in there and stopped the bleeding.
Jesus
Oh
Christ,
my God. Damn, you are seriously lucky to be alive.
So we're here with Jeff. Jeff is a really cool guy, and I forgot to record our interview. So I was like, dude, can you just come back?
The fact that we got this together actually then is a miracle.
Yeah.
Pretty quick turnaround there. Yeah, impressive.
Yeah.
Got it.
And this is Jeff. This is my wife, Nicole. She's
Hello.
She's also from Boston. Jeff is from Boston.
No way. Whereabouts?
I'm in Southie. You know where that may be.
I definitely do. So I grew up in Randolph. I went to school in Milton. I went to Fontbonne. So I know your neck of the woods pretty well.
Excellent.
Mom still lives in Duxbury. Yep. But I've been down here now for 11 years, almost 12, I want to say.
What brought you to South Carolina?
I went to school in Maryland, in Baltimore. I went to Loyola, and I knew I did not want to stay in Baltimore. And two, I did not really want to move back up north. I thought, I kind of always wanted to move down south. Let me just try it out. So I moved a week after I graduated, had never been here before. I knew I wanted to be near the beach, near a city with things to do. And so I just picked Charleston. So literally 11 years later, no regrets.
Don't have to deal with winters anymore, so that's nice. Although
it's pretty nice.
Yeah, we don't really get winters up here anymore either, but
this whole global warming thing,
Wild. No, we haven't gotten snow in 2 years here.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. So Jeff says he's got some friends in Charleston.
Well, you have another place to come and visit when you come down here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Roseanne is, I think she's in the YouTube chat there. She's in your area.
Hey, Roseanne.
So I talked to Jeff earlier. He's got an incredible story. So here's what's going on. And at first, I'm going to be honest, I thought it was a bunch of BS until I started really digging into the research. But there is, from what some people would say, a serial killer running around Austin, Texas.
Keep Austin weird,
Yeah, keep Austin. Yeah, specifically one part of Texas, which is I think is Rainey Street and
6th Street.
6th Street.
Okay.
Here's where you go out typically. Yeah.
Over the last couple years, there have been numerous. I think it was 20 in 2023. 20 male bodies found submerged in Lady Bird Lake, which is the lake right there. It's a small lake. It is man-made. I kind of looked up the history. It used to cool like this power plant type of thing.
Oh, okay.
But in 2023, I think this is right, there were 20 bodies pulled out. All male, no robberies or whatever. And they all were accidental drownings or suicides. All Jeff's ages, our age type of, and all went from the bar somewhere and ended up separated from their group and now into the water.
So, I mean, how far away is this body of water from said bars where people are just are stumbling in drunk potentially?
Very close. It's right near downtown. You could easily stumble to it. And then there's also some little rivers and creeks that lead to it from the area. So you could potentially float your way down there. A lot of the bodies aren't found for a number of days after they disappear. So it's hard to kind of identify where they came from necessarily.
Is it, so when you said floating down, is it a body of water where people are going tubing and that's they're taking their coolers type thing or
no, it's actually, I don't think you can swim in Lady Bird for some reason. I don't know if it's a safety precaution or whatnot, but you can bring in smaller type boats, but no speed boats and no swimming. So yeah, it wouldn't be something that you would choose to, it wouldn't be a body of water you would choose to get into.
His story is, number one, it's traumatic, but it's also really important because there is something going on, 100%. And Jeff happens to be
a survivor?
One survivor, and there's not many. There are a few survivors, but Jeff is one. And you can take it away, man.
Yeah, so...
Sorry you had to tell the story twice today.
I'll go through it again. I got a rehearsal run earlier. But so I was going down to Austin with a group of friends for a bachelor party. There was probably 12 or 15 guys from around the U.S. but a lot of people from here from Boston, that's where the groom is from. And we flew down there on a Thursday, the group from Boston, about 6 or 7 of us on the same plane. Got there midday, got to our Airbnb. We were hanging out at the pool. Things were normal. We were having some drinks, but nothing too wild. I certainly remember everything.
So I've only been to Austin once, so I ask a lot of questions. So just if I'm interrupting you too much, let me know. So I've only been to Austin one time before. My sister was living in Corpus Christi, Texas. So it's I think 2 hours away. Mm-hmm. So it's very a walkable city, right? A lot of people are just able to walk from one place to another type thing.
Yeah, the downtown is very built up and like a kind of a standard, city. Major city, but we were staying outside the city a bit at an Airbnb that was, had a big, because there's a lot of us, so big area, a lot of rooms, space, pool, things like that for the week.
Gotcha.
For the weekend. Okay. So we were waiting around until everybody arrived, and then we decided to go to dinner. I have the names of where we went just because I don't remember them all, but we went to a place called Iron Cactus for dinner, and that's where my memory really starts to pretty much go to zero. But we, we're behaving as you normally would, having drinks throughout dinner and after dinner, but nothing too crazy. And we then went to a bar called the Rustic Tap, and then to a bar that called Play, which is right on West 6th Street, where a lot of these disappearances occur. Mm-hmm. And that was the last time I saw my group was around 1:00 in the morning. Supposedly we were talking to some people. We had made some new friends, chatting as the night goes. I was pretty much coherent, but all of a sudden they realized that I wasn't there any longer, and that they'd seen me with a few people recently, but they were people that we didn't know. And then they couldn't find me, so they called me, and I was speaking basically incoherently on the phone. I couldn't tell them where I was or what I was doing, and then I stopped responding. They called a number of times more after that, and then my phone went dead.
Oh my God. So you don't remember. So it starts to get hazy while you're, a little after dinner, normal drinks is what you recall. You don't recall it's not like you were drinking straight tequila from the bottle.Maybe you were, but you don't think you did anything outrageous until then.
Right. At a reasonable level that we would do any other night.
And this was last year, about 9 months ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So this is 2023.
This is really recent.
Yeah. When I told you all those bodies were popping up, I mean, they've been popping up, but now it's an epidemic.
Yeah. So, if you look back, there's a lot of people who disappeared over last summer. It was a high disappearance rate.
Just in the last year. It's not like this is over a 20-year period necessarily.
It's been happening. So if you do some research, it has been happening periodically, but it seems like the numbers are ramping up. And there's been a lot of stories of people being not necessarily, getting killed, but they end up very drunk or roofied or potentially roofied. And there's a lot of, people that end up saying that they had to be dragged home and they got way drunker than they ever do. And something happened that was abnormal. There's a lot of those stories coming out of Austin.
Wow. So you remember being at a location, you don't remember getting separated from your group of friends, and you don't even remember making these calls.
No, at that point, I don't have any real recollection. It's just from what my friends told me later on.
Damn.
Yeah. So basically they, at that point, decided I'd either gotten arrested or went home with someone. I mean, they didn't think that they didn't really think last time they told me I was under control.
Because you kind of don't really think. I mean, we've been doing this podcast for 5 years.
5 years?
6?
Going on 7.
Oh my God, damn.
Jesus Christ.
7 years. Okay, so we've been doing this podcast for 7 years.
If I said that shit about our anniversary, it'd be...
Yeah, this would be a very different story. Okay, so 7 years later, we talk a lot about how obviously women have to think of very different things when they are out with their friends or in a public place, and what type of safety measures they have to do. And John's always I never think about it at all.
Yeah, it's nothing that I've ever experienced. I've never been roofied before or ended up in a scenario where I was, don't remember anything, was separated from my group and something wild happened. So it's obviously something you are putting yourself at a little bit of risk if you go out drinking, just because you never know what's going to happen or who you're going to meet. But it isn't really something I'd ever been too concerned with. It's, being a man, also you're probably less concerned with it, even though you shouldn't be.
Look at this comment from Megan, your friend Megan. What was it her last name?
Moskin.
Moskin. My eyesight's terrible. I'm one of Jeff's good friends. He can handle his drinks, and he's not a small guy. 6'3". You're 6'3"? Jesus. So I mean,
and we had a few other guys in the group also not disappear, but get way more seemingly intoxicated than they typically would and have to go home early.
Interesting.
Kind of stumbling their way home. So it could have been. So anyway, long story short, I'll keep on with it. I'm not to the end of my story yet.
No, I'm intrigued.
His story gets harrowing real quick.
So, okay. So that's also really interesting that you weren't the only person that was like out of the norm.
Right.
And I had one instance when I was in college, suspect that I may have been drugged because I mean, hey, like, could I have been that blackout? Possibly, but I also really don't remember, drinking that much.
Right.
So you know yourself, like your tolerance level, and even in a big bachelor party situation, like something's not right.
Yeah, and there's a huge group of guys who are all obviously watching each other's backs. So for me to just kind of disappear it's abnormal. You wouldn't think that.
Yeah, to straight up disappear in a random city.
And that goes along with kind of a lot of the stories from the other guys who have been found, unfortunately not alive. They also just kind of were there and then they were gone.
That's so weird. It's like, I mean, especially being in such a big group, like how would someone just, get someone, especially someone 6'3", to just kind of leave the group, I mean, honestly, it seems like it's coordinated. It wasn't one person that did this. This was a coordinated effort.
I would think that it looks more like kind of some sort of group of people who identify someone, isolate them from the group, probably try to rob them once they're incoherent, and send them on their way. Seems more kind of like that than it is a specific serial killer. It's more, there's more of a criminal, function going on of some sort. Yeah,
that makes sense. And I could see the popularity of the location too, right? And it's kind of similar here in Charleston. It's a huge, spring break area or bachelorette area, for that sort of thing.
Same as that area in Austin. I mean, so they could be targeting people that are already, a little easier to fool, are open to distraction.
Vulnerable, right? Distracted, drinking, all the things.
Right.
Not from around there.
Right.
Okay, so your phone goes dead after so your friends are trying to call you, and you are answering the phone, so you have it at some point, but did you lose your phone or did your phone die or what happened there?
I think it just died. We had been, we'd been hanging out all day, so I assume my phone just died at some point. So anyway, my friends assume I'm okay. They figure out they'll see me in the morning, but they go back. Don't hear of anything in the morning. I'm not there, so they start calling police stations and hospitals, and end up locating me at a local hospital that's pretty close to Rainy Street where we were drinking. So they come to find me. One of them actually said that he was my cousin, so that they could, because they only let family members come in, and they got in. So what they found was my side of the story, where I had basically only made it about 2 blocks from the bar that we were at, and somehow ended up at the bottom of a ravine, had fallen about 25 feet off a bridge. Landed next to a river that leads down to Lady Bird Lake.
Holy shit!
Yes. It's a very wide side. The side of the bridge is about 3 or 4 feet wide. It's an old stone bridge, so it would have been very difficult for me to, I almost would have had to throw myself off of the bridge intentionally. It's very hard to believe that I somehow fell off of it myself. I mean, it would have required like you climbing over something. Right. I would have had to put in effort to get off of that bridge on my own.
Hey, Jeff, I'm going to show him the picture you sent me. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. So,
all right, it's going to be on the YouTube. You probably won't see it on the Zoom, but let me see if I can pull it up here. So this is what you sent me. This is what falling off a bridge does.
Oh my word!
I mean, you literally have contractor screws in there. Literally. I mean, it's terrible, man. This is your back, obviously. Can you tell us a little bit?
Oh my god!
Yeah, so I fractured 7 vertebrae, and they had to be connected with screws and rods to stabilize my back. That was surgery that took place 2 days after the fall. When they found me, I was also hemorrhaging internally. I had punctured a lung and my spleen was bleeding out. So they had to do emergency surgery on my stomach and remove my spleen and sewed up some things in there and stopped the bleeding. So
holy shit.
This is some more of his back.
What a, I mean, that is some serious surgery right there, dude.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah.
How are you doing now? I know I want to get back to the story, but like, how is your back and your recovery? Like that's massive.
I know, like, very lucky that I was able to make a very quick recovery. And I actually was in the hospital. I mean, I was in an induced coma for about a week and then had some other complications. I ended up being able to get out about 2.5 weeks later. I got pneumonia. It was a whole ordeal.
Jesus
Oh
Christ,
my God.
dude.
Damn, you are seriously lucky to be alive.
I know. I was telling John, I never really contemplated my own mortality at all before this, but you know, it really hits you hard when you realize how close I was.
How high was the fall?
It was about 24, 25 feet. So,
Yeah.
and I also broke my scapula, which is your shoulder
Yeah.
bone.
Yeah, it is a miracle, Roseanne. If you would have felt any different, we wouldn't be talking to you. We have
my cousin, who actually he lived up in Massachusetts. He was living in Newton. He fell. There was like a balcony on a second floor. It wasn't a real balcony. It was kind of not meant to be used the way that the rental property was using it for. And he leaned back, the railing broke, and it was just fell the wrong way, and he died instantly. Like, you just never know how that is going to land. And holy shit, like, that is incredible. I'm so glad that you're okay now, but
No, I mean, I don't usually use the saying blessed, but I definitely feel like I was at that time. It's a miracle that I landed the way that I was, and the doctors were able to, you know, perform. And that's another strange thing about the story.
and that you're like, you know, you've got mobility and movement, and you know.
Yeah, and I was found at about 4:30 in the morning. There was an anonymous call that they saw someone at the bottom of a bridge, and that's how they found me. Which I'm so happy that someone did, but also a strange twist to the story, right? Like, who's finding someone at the bottom of a bridge
At 4:30 in the
4
morning.
in the morning? It's a little, yeah. So the whole story is interesting, but very, you know, very happy that I'm here, obviously, and I've started working out again recently. I've been able to start running, and those rods are actually going to get removed in June. Shockingly,
Wow.
they don't stay in you for your life. So yeah.
So
Well, that's great.
he did have tests done, like toxicology. Do you want to talk about that? I have your report here. I can bring it up too.
Yes, I sent you over what I found. So they did a tox report, and I didn't have any drugs in my system except for a benzo, which is basically rufalin is in the
It's like
benzodiazepine family.
GHB.
Holy shit. So they did find something in you.
He was drugged.
Holy shit.
He was definitely
All right,
drugged.
you know for a fact you didn't have one too many or mixed drinks.
So yeah, so officially somebody did something to me.
Andalyn asked a good question. Maybe you can answer, Jeff. Were you robbed as well?
No, and that's an interesting twist to the story. There was nothing taken from my person, so that is odd. The only thing that you could theorize that if they were throwing me off this bridge because they thought I was overdosing or they thought something was wrong with the situation, at that point you don't necessarily want to rob the person because that makes it a criminal investigation if they find me dead and robbed.
There you have all the accidental drownings.
Shit.
All the guys found in the lake, they all had their wallets on them. Therefore, accidental is not robbery. So if the guy's doing this, let's say it's to rob someone, if, you know, Jeff luckily survived, but if he didn't, they would leave his money. So the cops wouldn't open a criminal investigation. Jeff actually alerted me to that. That's very smart thinking.
Wow.
I mean, you think about this all the time.
But it does make sense, yeah. And like I said, I landed, I would say 5 feet from a river that I would have obviously drowned if I was in that condition and floated down to Lady Bird. So
Which
seems like
is
they may
their
have just
spot, right? Like,
missed the spot, yeah.
it almost sounds like that's how that might be the pattern of that exact location if it will feed right into Ladybird.
The bridge, because a lot of guys aren't found for a week later. I've been seeing, drowned and dead, and a lot of the deaths, the medical examiner says that they're drowning because the water in their lungs, and
Right.
so they're basically drowned.
Right, I would have probably died from drowning. That would have probably been the cause because I would have been
Right.
And then they would have said it was a suicide, because that's what the APD's doing. They're saying all of these cases are a suicide.
Wow.
Jeff, I want to show you something right quick. This isn't Lady Bird Lake. This is in Chicago. I was telling you about this. Check this out. This is in 2022. These are how many people have died just in this one area in 2022. And they're all men except one, it looks like. But every one of them are men, just like in the Lady Bird case.
Were they all around,
the lake
our
area,
age, all around? Were they all people?
Yeah, just normal people at the bars,
Yeah.
Normal people at the bars.
Like they were all kind of out and about, and that's how they were.
Yeah. This is speculation, but this is kind of what we're thinking, or at least I'm thinking. It is maybe an organization like a cartel doing something like this. There's different spotters. Like, let's say they'll have someone in the bar looking for a guy. It's always a guy that may have some money, that they could steal. Someone drugs them somehow. It may be the bartender doing it. It may be something else. I've seen in one report that people are vaping. If you accept a random vape from somebody, some of those are rigged with the GHB and stuff like that.
Oh,
they separate you.
Would not have ever thought of that.
They separate you, and then someone on the outside takes over where there's no cameras. Still to this day, there's no cameras.
Yeah, that's what Jeff's sister just commented. He was found in an area that had no cameras. All down West 6, there are cameras except where he was.
I mean, cameras are not expensive these days.
No.
You would think the Austin PD would put up cammers.
Why would you leave a blackout area?
Here's one,
especially with the number of bodies that are being found.
And like I said, it's not even 2 blocks from the last bar that we were at. It's not like I went far.
Yeah. Sometimes this does happen, like the chief of police, like they don't want 20 murder raps on their docket, right? No one's going to come to Austin and party anymore.
Yeah.
And, go and visit the town. But at the same time,
it's easily solvable. Even if they didn't want to come out and say that there's a gang, killers, whatever, putting up the cameras in that location would solve a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they may not just comment there that the culprit would have to know that there's a lack of cameras there, but they could easily know that, right? It might be specifically why they take people there.
Absolutely. It's not like they're, cameras are, you can spot them anywhere unless it's a nanny cam,
Do you think it was, because, you're a big dude, and you have your drink. I'm the same way. I kind of keep it with me. You're probably holding it in your hand the whole time.
Typically hold on to it, yeah. Right.
That makes me kind of think it might be a bartender.
I read that too, and I hadn't thought about that, but I guess, that could be. There's something I guess Austin is unique in that you can be a bartender. Basically, you get a license to bartend at multiple bars. So if there's an opening at one bar one night, you can move to that.
Oh, that's screwed up.
Yeah, so a lot of bartenders, they might not actually know the people that well. They're just there for the night to fill in or whatnot. So could be that, and maybe we were sitting or standing at a table and I set it down or went to the bathroom. And, I won't, like I said earlier, I won't say that I'm super careful with my drink. I do typically hold it, but I'm not really on the lookout for somebody trying to roofie me. I should be. I guess I should be now.
Yeah.
It's just crazy that they got you away from your whole party. If you were just with one person, it may be harder to pull someone away. But you said you were with, 16 people?
Yeah, 12 or 15.
12 or 15?
A lot of guys.
Jesus, man.
I think that almost might be easier, though, right? Because if you're with a single person or 2 people, that you have an intimate conversation.
Yeah.
If you're a huge group, everybody's mingling and talking to the group and that group. And
can be easy to lose track of one. Or to assume one's with somebody else, right? Like, oh, he must be over there with my other buddy.
Oh yeah, Jeff must be with Brad. Yeah, everything's fine.
Right.
So what's your life like now? Because this is, I told him earlier, it's an honor speaking to you because you survived this horrific ordeal, and also a lot of guys, they're probably more survivors, a lot more, but they're scared to come out, and it's very brave of what you're doing right now.
Or to even think too of like what could have actually happened.
Shit.
Maybe
not
everybody got a toxicology report to prove some of this stuff.
That's a lot of people don't get tested, right? So you never even know.
Damn.
But I really appreciate that. Obviously it's been a while. It happened 9 months ago, and I really initially didn't want to talk about it or think about it. A lot of my friends were like, let's go down there and figure out who did this to you. Let's start an investigation. The police, we don't need the police.
That would be me.
And so many people were reacting that way, which I mean, I appreciate it. I know that's the way they're showing their love. But at that time, I was so overwhelmed, I just didn't even want to think about it. But really, what got me going again was early last month in February, they found another guy in the same place in the same scenario, and I just said, you know what? If there's anything I can do to help, I don't. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't remember much, so I can't identify anyone, but I can at least tell my story of where I was and how it went down and the timing of things, and maybe they can correlate some things together to try to connect dots and figure out if there's something they can do to stop this from happening to someone else.
Yeah. Wow. One of the guys, Jason John, 30-year-old, this was February 5th, 2023, wee hours in the morning. Now, he's deceased, but the last time he was seen, it was by a Good Samaritan, and he was at the lake vomiting violently. Do you know if you vomited or anything or had intense sweating? Because this guy was most likely drugged, and then he was found, obviously, in the lake a week later. The medical examiner says it was classified as accidental, but, we know. I mean,
I don't know if there was any, vomit on me at the time. I'm not sure. I almost think there was, but I'd have to go back and ask my sister, who's a nurse, who came down and was kind of my savior for the whole period while I was.
Oh, so you stayed in Austin for your whole medical treatments?
Yeah, I was there for 2.5 weeks.
Oh, God, the worst place. Last place I want to be.
It was hell. All I wanted to do was go home. That's my sister. Every day I was like, I think we're good now, right? Let's can we just get I want to go out of here.
Oh my God.
I don't blame you for that.
Jesus.
Well, Megan had said a couple of comments too, like it's happening, something similar seems to be happening in New York City. And she also had shared there is that Austin notoriously has an under-resourced police department.
Oh.
So that might be another reason why they're not looking to call attention to this problem, right?
I mean, what can we do? I mean, you know what I was thinking earlier? This is what they should require in Austin. They should put up, if their bar, the decedent was the last seen at their bar, they should put photos of the people, and it's like, this guy was last seen here, to warn people.
Well, of course they're not going to do that, though.
I know they're not going to do that, but it's still like,
I think there should be some responsibility if
oh yeah,
last seen at your establishment, you either overserved them or somebody did something illegal to them at your establishment. So
and in most cases, it's probably, I'm telling you, I think a lot of guys wake up just completely like, what happened? And then they have no money, their bank accounts are withdrawn. So in most cases, it seems like, it goes smoothly, so to speak. It's only these cases where whoever was doing this, I'm just speculating, but they're like, oh, Jeff, this guy he's convulsing, let's just throw him off this bridge,
So your theory on this is it's not necessarily someone looking to drug someone, throw them off the bridge.
It's not a serial killer,
because
that just might be an unfortunate outcome occasionally when their plan goes south.
Yeah,
they have a plan B.
Again, I'm truly sorry this happened to you, but also
so glad you're okay.
I feel very lucky to be alive, and I'm trying to live life to my fullest now because I kind of almost feel like I got a second chance, So
Jesus.
Heck yeah.
Glad to be around. I got some cool scars to show the ladies now.
You could get your scars, make a cool tattoo out of your scars. I know somebody that had brain surgery and had done something with his head.
Or make it like a cool train track or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Wire maybe.
You can do something pretty cool with it. I'm sure it looks pretty rad. You've got some serious street cred from that. But damn, I cannot get over that.
Survive death, man. 25 feet. Jesus.
Damn.
Holy shit.
I do not like heights, so I can't even imagine.
I mean, what did your family? They were probably like, oh my God.
So, my family and my friends were amazing. Like I said, my sister was there the whole time, and then she took off work. She's an OR nurse actually, and I was able to stay at her place for the next month after I got home before I could go back and live on my own. So that was great.
Jeez,
my friends were all there to support. A few of them came down, including Megan, who's on the line here, with her boyfriend, who's my friend, and also a group of people started a GoFundMe to help pay for my sister. I was lost in salary while she was taking off work to support me, and all the legal bills all the medical bills, obviously, that add up. So,
and she says
Jeff's fall was so incredibly severe. His life was hanging in the balance, on life support for days. He lost his spleen, had 3 surgeries, went in acute respiratory distress. As I flew down, I didn't know if he was alive. Damn.
Jeez. You have some great family members, I can already tell.
I do. I had a huge amount of support. My parents didn't come down, but they're older. They don't fly too much, so they were supporting me the whole time. And I really blessed that of the support that I had. I don't know that I could have done it without them, but I also was, when I came to and I figured out what was going on, which took me about a day or two. I was determined to get out of there and survive. So still Jesus.
Here. So is there a lot of media attention around Lady Bird Lake right now?
It's all suicides and drownings.
So for right now, like we're gonna be the ones pushing this one forward.
No, I didn't find this case.
No, I know somebody requested it.
Yeah, it's, our friend Shram on here. She's also like our PR person. She found it on TikTok.
I think Martin also requested this story. He said.
Yeah, and because
gotta give Martin credit where credit is due.
People are thinking that there's a serial killer, and I knew that wasn't the case. I mean, number one, there's like all the bodies that were found. They're not. They weren't sexually assaulted. Because we've done cases like that,
right?
Where and it's all guys. That's the first thing you would think of, and a lot of them, they weren't robbed, stuff like that. There was like no clear MO.
I do still think it's kind of a head scratcher to me that men are the ones being targeted. It's just due to it's not easy.
Sure, you would think it would be potentially easier to
target a female, a young female,
a 5-foot tall female rather than a 6'2",
Yeah.
So that is interesting. But I also think that this drug that's becoming more common now that's being used is so strong that it's not like they're dealing with me anymore. They're dealing with like a zombie.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude. A 6'3" zombie. Holy Jesus.
Sounds dangerous.
I mean, it's like I still question, that seems difficult, but
they better be glad you didn't come too, man. You would have.
They didn't give me any uppers. They're making sure that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, no shit.
And Megan says, and Amy is an absolute queen.
Is that your sister? Is Amy your sister?
Amy's my sister. Yeah.
There you go. We had to make sure we shout.
A lot of our supporters on live chat are probably thinking, is this guy single or?
Trying to who's up in Massachusetts still? Shram had said that a lot of us that are looking into these cases, there's an alarming amount of jokes and backlash towards them being male victims. That's interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, and there's a lot of what I've seen on there's some Facebook groups where people talk about it. That's actually how we connected here, John and I. But there's a lot of people who are saying, oh, it's some sort of closeted gay thing, and these guys are sneaking off. But I'm just like, I don't know how this even is. First of all, I'm completely heterosexual, so I know that wasn't the case here. But I also don't know how that's even. Why is that? Because this just because we're all guys?
Yeah, but then you look at the autopsy report and there's no sexual trauma to anything, so that gets ruled out. But also the GHB, we've done quite a few serial killers where that's the MO. They'll basically, Stephen Port, the guy in Canada, what's the guy in Canada? I can't remember his name. But yeah, they would exact same thing. This guy in Canada would GHB men, and this was at gay bars. That's why I had asked earlier.
That might be the time, is that it's happened previously.
Yeah, so they see all men doing this, but this is something that we've never seen before. It seems like it's not just one person, it's many people doing this, and they're all kind of in it together.
The multiple cities could just be different groups who figured out, hey, we can use this drug and completely incapacitate people.
And this is happening a lot too. Like women of the night prostitutes and even strippers, they'll fentanyl their clients, get them all screwed up, and then steal their money. And we did that one where she actually did it and killed 3 people, 3 Johns from doing that.
Yeah.
So it's like the same thing, just using fentanyl instead of GHB. But I mean, and also I got to mention real quick, I saw that one of the biggest GHB underground dealers was in Houston. It was masquerading as a fireworks operation, but they were distributing GHB and this new stuff called GDO or something. It's like stronger and it gets out of your system right there in Texas.
Right, which leads you to think, that maybe that's why the uptick, just because the drug is so much more available now.
Yeah.
Drugs like it.
So it's very brave what you're doing, man, because I'm telling you, a lot of guys wouldn't want to do this, but this is why you do it, because now people are going to come out and be like, you know what, this also happened to me. This happened to me.
Or I was robbed and don't remember what happened. There's like going to be some other version of the story.
More people definitely need to hear about this 100%, because especially if you don't know, if you're a college kid and you haven't heard of this, dude, you're so vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying to you earlier when we were talking, that I have a cousin who's going to school down there, and he's a tough 20-year-old guy, and he said he won't even go out alone at night because you never know what's going to happen. So I think
wow.
it's weird because it's a very popular tourist destination.
Yeah.
Goes there because it's fun and a lot of bachelorette parties, but then at the same time it has this weird dark side to it. So
your sister had commented, interestingly, as I waited in the ICU for him to wake up, doctor after doctor and nurse after nurse told me, quote, men aren't safe in this city. They should never walk alone.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Men, Jesus. It's because it's usually women. Like, we do these stories. It's women.
And it's like everywhere. Yeah.
Well, why would you, why wouldn't it be men and women, whoever is vulnerable?
Yeah.
Right. Like, there is something going, they're noticing a pattern. I'm sure they see it all the time being in the hospital that
they see it. Yeah. They see, the survivors and the non-survivors. So.
Jeez.
One thing I want to say or add, you got on the Facebook group, the Lady Bird group, and you made a post, hey, is there anyone else? Basically, is there a support group? Did anyone reach back out to you?
A lot of people said, hey, so sorry for what you went through, you're a survivor, but I didn't get anyone except yourself. And I did get one other gentleman who said, please DM me. I lost my son in Austin last.
Oh, geez. Oh my God.
Wow.
I haven't heard back from him. Actually, I did DM him. I said, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'd be, happy to talk to you anytime. But I looked through his Facebook page, and he did lose his son last summer, who was a 30-year-old male. So same place. Found him
terrible,
in
man.
Yeah. So heavy stuff. And that's why, I would just hope that I can help someone's family not have to deal with waiting, multiple days and then finding out that their son's never coming home.
Yeah.
I know how hard it was on my family, and I'm still here. So I can't even imagine that happening just out of the blue like that to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I really appreciate that you did decide to kind of come forward and reach out to folks and offer your help. I do think it will make a difference.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
I think so. Yeah. It can only help, at least somehow to get the information out there and start a dialogue. Maybe more people like you were saying, John, maybe there's more people who will say, hey, I showed up drunk in my bed, didn't know what happened, lost all my money. Just at least maybe start correlating some stories to find where the group is, who they might be, try to identify some people who are involved with it, and then take down the ring if there is the hypothetical crime ring out there. But I really think there must be something.
Absolutely. There is no question in my mind. You've got the proof from your toxicology report.
Right. I was obviously 100%. Charged with something.
Jesus.
Wild stuff. Wild stuff.
Jesus.
Damn.
Man.
Oh my God. I cannot get over your story. So I'm so glad that you're here. Love the Boston connection. Always good to have another friend in the mix. And if you ever come to the Charleston area, definitely
love to come down there. It's
come join us.
I have like I said, I have some friends, a few family members down in the area. So we'll have to grab a drink sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. You and your sister come down. That'd be fun,
Absolutely. It takes a lot to talk about something so traumatic, Andolyn says. Thank you.
Very good point, Andolyn.
Thank you, Andolyn. It like I said, it took me many months to be even able to think about it. I really just wanted to put the whole memory out of my mind, which worked for a while. And I think it just kind of, after it settled a little bit, I was able to say, okay, that happened. Wasn't my fault. First you feel very guilty. Like, why did I put myself in that situation in the first place? And yada, yada, yada. I'm sure that's what a lot of guys also think.
Yeah.
Obviously backwards, but you always second guess yourself and whatnot. So it did take a while to come forward with the whole story. But like I said, I just hope it can maybe help find out what's going on and save some lives in the future.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. Do you have anything else to add? before we wrap this?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. Again, thanks for giving me the opportunity to say my piece here. This has been really cool.
Awesome, man.
Thanks so much, Jeff. And thank you for all of Jeff's fan club for joining us today.
Super cool. Again, I appreciate it, guys. Great to see you as well.
Yeah, I will have to see if we know any other people in common. I'm sure given our ages, it sounds like we're probably close in age where maybe we know some people.
All right. Thanks, Jeff, so much.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye. Kind of run this shit.